Hello and welcome to another edition and the first one of 2026 for Video Games to the Max, episode 476 of the show. I'm your host, Sean Geimer, and joining me here today is Randy Isbell in the co-host seat. What's going on?
Listen, I always say that you want to start the year out really poorly, so then it just continues to grow. So Sean's like, I got to get Randy on to start the year, and then the shows are just going to get better from here on out. Also, I just have to say, for those that are listening to the audio version of this podcast, Sean has already made quite the claim with the backdrop for this video version of this podcast, making it look all GTA 6 style. When who knows if GTA 6 is going to come out this year.
But it is the biggest game that's supposed to come out this year.
This is
Will
true.
it come out this year?
This is true.
We'll see. But yes,
now I need to go back and look. Was this the backdrop for 2025 too?
I think I might have made it clear obscure. If I
maybe.
So yes, we are going to do our most anticipated games of 2026. Randy and I both have our top 10. Mark is not here because he had to go deal with some family stuff, but we do have his list, so I'll read it out as long while we do ours. And then we're also going to do gaming predictions for the big three, PC gaming, what's going to happen with the Steam machine, and some kind of general things about the industry as well. And yeah, so we might as well just go ahead and get things started right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right, so let me go ahead and get the housekeeping stuff out of the way really quick. We do appreciate you listening to us, watching us, whether it's live, which we do the show on Mondays. The time varies, but that's why it's good to subscribe to the YouTube channel, the WTO Network, because if you had those notifications set on, you can also personalize it just to Video Games to the Max, like the podcast when it goes live. I know we have a lot of shows that go on, so I understand people don't want to subscribe to the whole thing sometimes, but if you do, you'll know when we go live and you can watch this live when we do this on Mondays. If not, you can always just listen later or watch later on demand. You can listen on podcasts, find some Video Games to the Max there. And also, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can get our other shows, which Otaku Cafe does all the anime stuff. So they just did their Fall Anime Awards, and I'm sure now they're going to do their overall awards probably this week for the entire year. So that should be exciting with all the great anime that happened last year. And then, of course, you got the Reality Broadcasting folks that do everything from comics, movies, TV shows. Mainly they focus on movies. So pretty much every week they are reviewing the big movie that came out that week. And they do a great job of that. So make sure you go check them out. You can go find them on podcasts as well if that works out better for you. And what's up to the folks that are watching? You can comment along with us here. So, like I said, Mark's not on because he had to deal with some family stuff. Also, just want to throw this out there because I have had people ask, because I am Venezuelan American, I am well aware of the stuff that happened. It was weird because I got woken up at 5 a.m. with the news of my grandma and my mom screaming of, free at last sort of thing in Spanish. I had to work at 7 a.m., so it wasn't very pleasant to get woken up at that time. But then I'm sitting there just watching the news. And yeah, pretty crazy. That not something that I had on the bingo card to start the year. But I guess we'll see what happens. I don't want to comment on whatever, people have their thoughts on that. I'm just going to say that I'm aware of it. I did make some posts on Blue Sky if you want to go see that. And there you go. This is not a political place, so don't want to involve that here. But that being said, we are going to do our games, games we're playing because, next week, already this week, there are some games, but next week already feels like we are getting some indies that one that I'm already going to be reviewing and stuff. So like next week we'll start like official, like, okay, we're on 2026 watch of anything that's going to make our list at the end of the year. I am going to be keeping track this year, so I don't have the whole what happened to me where we got finished with the podcast last week. And I was like, oh my God, I'm missing like 3 games that should have been on here.
That's why Google Docs are very important.
Yes.
I use them religiously.
But all right, so we are going to do the predictions first. Just like when you think, and already this year, it started because CES is happening right now, and we've already started getting the information that we kind of have been hearing ever since, kind of the year started winding down, that PC components are going to get more expensive. RAM prices have shot up, and now the GPU prices are shooting up. NVIDIA has there's already now NVIDIA has not confirmed this like Asus did, or Asus confirmed that their product line, some of their product line is going to go up. But we don't like, this is just kind of like a report that NVIDIA's GPU prices are going to go up, starting with the 5090, and it's going to go up incrementally month by month until they get to a certain price, which the rumor is they might even go up to $5,000, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And of course, this means it's going to affect their entire product line. And they've also now announced, to kind of combat this, is that they're going to restart making the 3060 to kind of try to like have a balance there of like, okay, well, I guess we'll throw you a bone and have a lower SKU. So if it doesn't feel like it's the end of the world, everybody's got to pay these prices, but I'm sure it's still going to be high. This, of course, throws doubt into, does this make Valve wait on the Steam machine, or they just go throw it out there anyway? Randy, like, kind of what's your, and of course this affects the consoles, lots of rumors. Does this mean the consoles are going to be delayed? I'm talking about the PS6 and whatever the Xbox Magnus thing is. So how do you feel about like going into this year now, knowing that prices are going to go up, meaning we could have price increases again for the current consoles that already exist? Kind of give you a bad vibe for the year, or what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you have a system already, then you're feeling great, because I'm starting to get into that window of the PS6 and whatever Microsoft is going to do might get pushed down the road while they kind of wait to see how the market works. And because last generation, and for many generations, the price is so key when you announce your system. The Switch 2 last year kind of waited as long as they possibly could, because all of this had just started to change when they were getting closer and closer to launch, and they were trying to like feel it out the best they could. PS5 got kind of ripped a little bit because the price just sounds ridiculous. And then you just think about it, the PS5, the PS6 could have a price tag that could just sound astronomical, and that could just kill a system. So first off, I do believe that this could push systems back, which I personally think needs to happen anyways, because this generation just never really got off the ground to me. With the PS5 and the Xbox Series, all those came out right in the middle of COVID. So all of the games that they wanted to start that generation with got pushed back for years, and then all kind of came out in one lump sum for PlayStation. Xbox is getting ready to kind of have their big push here soon. And it does not feel like a full generation yet, because we've had so few first party games. Indies have killed it. We talked about it last week for Game of the Year. We're getting different developers just crushing it every single year. And I'm not saying last year was anywhere near a down year in gaming, but when you look at first party titles, it hasn't been there. So then all of a sudden go, all right, well, the PS6 is coming soon. and you're like, but we haven't had a Naughty Dog game yet, and we've only had one of this, and we've only had one of that. We haven't heard
At least
from this.
it's been announced, but yeah,
and obviously Sony really shot themselves in the foot a couple years ago trying to do the Fortnite style or the Overwatch style of games where they're trying to wring money out of people, and obviously all that crashed so much that all of their games that they had in production, they went, okay, never mind. Nothing we've done works. So hopefully it kind of pushes that back. Honestly, to answer your question on Valve and the Steam Deck and everything they want to do there, that just kind of goes down to how much they believe in it. Because to me, if they believe in it, they'll push it back a bit and make sure that they can get it out at a decent enough price to get it in as many hands as possible, because that's what's really going to start driving, mass sales of it. Because you want a lot of people to get your hands on it, and then everyone's going to get hooked into it, and then it's going to become a thing. If you go out there and go, it's $1,500, have fun, then not many people are going to buy it, and the system's just going to die. It's the exact same thing that happened in the 90s, except the one thing that's different for 2026, the 1996, is prices are going up the longer a system is out instead of going down. But price matters. It always has, all the way back to the old 32-bit systems. You can price yourself out of a console race really, really quick. And I know Valve is looking in that, and so Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, they're all aware. I'm not sitting here being smarter than any of these companies by any means. It's going to be very interesting to see what they decide to do, because the landscape is very rocky right now. And the fact that we are talking about companies basically saying that the price has a scheduled raise instead of drop in the technology world is insanity to me.
Yeah. And it's insane, not only because, we've said it a bunch of times, like, in this part of the generation, we're used to seeing price cuts. And when the only great price cut is for the holiday season for the PlayStation 5 to go back to its original price when it came out in November of 2020, that is just, it's crazy talk, like, we never thought we would get to this point.
No.
Now, like, PC components that used to be cheap as crap, like RAM used to be so cheap, and like now it's like that's going up, and GPU prices have always kind of varied or whatever, but now it's going to force companies to have to optimize their games for lower spec GPUs and CPUs now. So it is going to kind of delay that. We don't need a rise in power because people can't afford the hardware that goes along with having that rise in power. It also kind of makes you wonder if PlayStation is going to wind up doing that whole like lower spec PS6 to kind of keep the price at a, kind of affordable part, because like if they go try to match whatever Xbox is trying to do, it's going to be like impossible to price it somewhere below $800 or, whatever. I mean, Sony can only eat so much at some point. So do you think that for sure Steam Machine's coming out this year at some point?
You would hope. But again, if the market says that the only way it can come out is for it to have a 4-digit price tag, I don't see.
It does help them a little bit. They don't have to be in stores, so they don't have to do the markup for retail.
I mean, that will help. But I'm very curious to see what the Steam Deck will do, because obviously there's so many different ways that Valve can go with it, and it looked like a really neat machine. I don't know if I'm gonna get one because I still haven't got a Switch 2. But I don't really play PC stuff as much anymore, as I used to. So it's kind of not my kind of a thing, but I hope it performs well, because we talked about it all the time. Competition's big in this industry, and I know it's changing a little bit, because it used to be who has the exclusives, and now it's all about who has the best accessibility, which is why I think the Switch 2 is doing so well still, because it can become a handheld, and you can play it here, and you can play this, and then it does have all the exclusives that other systems are going away from. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see if the Steam Deck came out. I would have been shocked if it didn't this year, but again, with these price increases, what does that do to the price of it? And does that kind of make them be a little bit more hesitant on it? Because a system can die if it has a bad launch especially because of price.
And thankfully for them, they don't have to worry about having a game at launch because they have so many games on their thing.
Well, there's a certain Half-Life 3 that I'm sure is finished and just waiting for the Steam Deck to come out. That's what all the internet have told me.
I mean, that is, I was going to ask you about that. Do you think that we see Half-Life 3, or do you think that that's just people?
Especially if the price has to be so high. As long as that game has been in the works, as the rumors have been saying, like, that has to be a launch title then for the Steam Deck to try to get people to then buy it, because then you can kind of go, it's Half-Life 3 for $1,200. I mean, that's kind of what Nintendo did, right? It's like, hey, it's Mario Kart.
But then that's also like anybody that has a PC. Well, for one, this is an entry level machine. Like most people are not, or it's a like, oh, I really want to just have this thing to be able to play PC games on my TV, and I don't want to have to bring my PC to the living room or have to do some kind of big picture mode or whatever. So it's already kind of a smaller sample size of people. But yeah, I think once you get past that, the idea at first when it was first launched, before we had all this hullabaloo about all the stuff going on, was, could this be $400? Could this be $500? And be way below, the consoles, right? And now it's like, could we possibly get it to what the console prices are? And it's like,
for me, for the Steam Deck to really be successful this go around, it has to be under. And that's the other point of, if the prices push it to where it has to be as expensive as a PS5, then I don't see how that becomes the entry level box for PC anymore, because normies are going to look at it and go, nah, it's too expensive. I'll just buy a PlayStation. Like, you have to be able to go, it's cheap enough for you to get it into your room, and then look at Steam, look at this ridiculous marketplace, and then wait until we have a sale and watch us just nickel and dime you for all these games, because you just can't help yourself and you're going to buy the games. I think that's what Valve wants, and that's what Microsoft tried to do with Game Pass. Just get Game Pass, please, and then forget you have it, so we can continue to get your money in for subscriptions. Steam is, we need everybody to get Steam, so then they could look at a Steam deal for the first time ever and go, oh, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get that. And next thing you know, you've bought 30 games and you're going to play 2 of them.
Right. And then you have this machine that can mostly play like pretty much all your indies. You'll just have issues with the AAA games that if you have a console, you really don't need it for, or whatever, which I was really thinking about it before I got this. Now I have a laptop, which was going to blow the Steam machine out of the water. So it doesn't make any sense for me to buy that. But it's like, before I was really thinking about it, because it's like, man, if this can come in at like $600 and I can play all the indie games that I like to play or whatever, I don't need it to play the AAA games because, I have all the consoles. So, and I now understand I'm in a very fortunate position like that. I'm not saying that for people that are watching that only have one console, or they have like an old PC or whatever.
And honestly, real quick, I mean, it kind of, all of this sucks for me, because I've kind of been hemming and hawing about one of these portable machines, like the ROG LIXs and all that stuff that you see all over the place, because I've kind of fallen out with Nintendo a little bit. I just never play the Switch. The controls are just too low for me. Like the Pro controller is great, but it's just, for whatever reason, the Switch and I just never connected. So I'd buy a game.
I started souring on the thing too, because I mean, I a lot of my review games I got for Switch 2, which helped. It was nice. I had Tactics and Octopath Traveler 0 on Switch 2, and it was nice to be able to take it around and do stuff. But like, aside from Bonanza, I didn't play any of the first party.
But the thing is, I love the portability of it.
Right.
So if I go out of town, which I do a lot for my job, then I end up honestly, I take my Vita more than I take my Switch, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if I had one of those portable systems, like the Steam Deck or whatever, then I would get so much more mileage out of it. But I kind of missed what it's still the weirdest thing that way back in the day. I don't know if people have heard of him, but Brent Black, who is Brental Floss, used to do the If This Video Game Had Lyrics series for years and years and years. He still does it from time to time. Has actually made a couple of video games now. He came out with a song, said, "Don't buy a console at launch." And just because of all the stuff that's wrong with the consoles, and then they fix it in a year and it's cheaper. And who would have known now that you have to buy the console at launch, or it's going to be $200 more by the time you want to get it the next year. That's me with all of these handheld computers that can play Game Pass and can play Steam and stuff. Like, I missed the launch window. So now if I want to get myself into that space, I have to pay more.
And Valve just took out the lowest Steam Deck as well. So like that was their way of raising the prices. Now you have to get essentially the OLED or the more expensive LCD version. Which even then they're still cheaper because obviously they're older hardware. They're still cheaper than the Lenovo Legion 2 and the Xbox ROG Ally X thing. So that is still there, but I agree with you. It's at that point where you're like, well, I might as well just wait for this Steam Deck 2 or if that ever comes out. So
the world calms itself down and prices go back to normal.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the AI bubble will have to pop first for that to happen.
Speaking of needing to calm down, my two cats are needing to calm down right now. They just ran right by me.
Thankfully, I'm able to keep mine all outside, so I don't have to deal with that. But yeah, especially the little one we have now tends to go nuts whenever it feels like it. So when do you think? Steam Machine is going to come out. When do you think it comes?
It's got it. For me, consoles work best in fall. You kind of get that first launch window out, and then a few months later, it can kind of become the Christmas item. Switch 2, I think, I still feel it came out a little early, but obviously it worked because it's Nintendo. What was that, June when that came out?
Yeah, June. Yeah.
To me, August, September just feels perfect. So you get the diehards that'll buy it for the first couple months, and then the reviews can hit in time before parents start getting Christmas shopping done come November. Back in the day, you could have done a small sale on it just to try to hammer it home. You can't do that these days. But maybe you can then package it with a couple of games for Christmas time or Black Friday time or whatever. But that's my guess is August, September. But again, if the price gets too high up there, then I would not be shocked if they go, we can just continue to kind of tweak this thing and have it really ready to go come the next year.
Yeah, I'm of two minds with it. I do feel like it needs to come out because I feel like, well, I'll get to that later in a second when we talk about the console stuff. For one, it doesn't really matter for Steam because it's not going to, for Valve, because it's not going to be in stores. But I would say, I think it's better sooner than later. So like the springtime, unless they're going to play the waiting game and hope that the consoles, there's bigger reports about the consoles are going to be indefinitely delayed, like they're not going to come in 2027. And so there that you have a runway of the entirety of next year, then okay, whatever. But if that doesn't come, I feel like you need to just go out in the spring because the longer and longer you wait, the bigger chance you have of this stuff costing more and more money.
Yeah, right? That's fair. And honestly, the one thing I didn't think about that I think you nailed on the head is you can't push it back far enough to run into possible launch windows of Microsoft and Sony's next system. So that does make sense too.
Yeah, I mean, like once those things get announced,
yeah,
nobody's gonna care about the Steam
100%.
Machine at all. I mean, to be fair, it's already a really small amount of people that are gonna care about the Steam Machine anyway. But it's like anybody that might have thought about caring about it, it's just gonna not care because those things got announced. Now, on the other side of it is, I have this idea and I'm not the only one, but I feel like it doesn't matter what happens. Xbox cannot delay. Sony can delay because people are buying PS5s.
Yeah.
No big deal. They got a big install base. Xbox can, if they care about the console at all, if they care about having this thing be something, you need to take this window where you might have the 1 year head start and go for it. If you don't care about price and all you want to do is say, look, we have a PC that plays Xbox games, and you're going to be able to use Steam and you're going to be able to do all this stuff with it, you need to go out first. Because for one, if you have a chance at beating Valve at their own game and showing people, oh man, well, I have access to all these stores and I can play Steam on this, and then I can play my Xbox games and I can do all that. Like, that's the only avenue you have. If there's a rumor that Sony might play around with having Steam on their machine too, and you let Sony come out first, forget it. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody gonna buy the higher price thing. That's gonna, I mean, maybe you're more powerful, but at how much of a more of a cost, right? Yeah. So to me, I feel like Sony can wait if they want to wait to see if they can get the RAM prices, if RAM prices go down, and they can get those bulk orders later. But I feel like Xbox cannot wait. And Microsoft's at that point where they seem to like not care about what things cost. They've already told everybody it's going to be a premium console. So if it's going to be $1,200, then what do you care, right? You're already charging what, $700 something for the Xbox Series X, 600 and 600. No, I think it's like 650 or something like that. But it it's ridiculous. It's you're talking about $100 more you can do get the PS5 Pro. Like, it's, so it's crazy. It's all crazy talk. But do you think that we are going to get more increases to the consoles that are already out there? Like, do you think that we're going to
100%. And a lot of it, I think, is going to be exactly what Nintendo tried to do, where they're trying to. Honestly, it almost kind of works out in their favor. If you increase the prices of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, especially, the Pro, then when the high price for the PS6 and the Xbox, whatever they're going to call it, comes out, it won't hit as hard because you're like, well, look what the PS5 is now, because they've had to raise the prices for it. Nintendo tried to do that where they raised prices
the Switch
for the Switch, and they raised prices for all the accessories and stuff to try to do everything they could to fix the costs. Well, listen, Conker's coming out. That's going to be a $300 game, and nobody's going to buy that. But everything's going to possibly go up as we get closer and closer to these new systems. But I know it has been now well over 5 years, because it was late 2020 is when the PS5 and the Xbox Series X came out. And I know everyone's like looking at next year for these systems. Personally, I'm not ready. I'm not.
I'm not either. I'm at the same place where you are, where we haven't gotten the most out of the PS5 and Xbox Series yet. We don't need them. It's gonna look awesome ray traced and with like DLSS 5 and whatever. Like, it's not gonna look that much better. Like, what are we gonna gain from it?
You have to go the accessibility route. You have to make it easier. I liked what Xbox did, even though I don't use their system as much. But with the instant, what's it called, where the game just instantly starts playing that you haven't played.
Oh, the smart delivery
or whatever, something like that. But it was I haven't played.
The quick resume thing.
Yeah, the quick resume. Thank you. Yeah. But I haven't played the baseball game that I play on my Xbox in months. I turned that thing on the other day, and it was in the middle of the game. It was still there, ready to go.
And it didn't freeze on you? It still worked?
No. Wow. I finished the game. And I was like, wow, it's like this stuff like that is really cool. And that's I think what systems need to work on. It's just those cool features that work really well. Sony didn't really have that. They tried to do the cool tips and hints and videos and stuff, and I've never used that in my life.
Never either. Yeah.
So that they need to come up with cool innovations that way, because like you said, graphics, they're amazing right now. I'm not going to see a big difference. Period. Like, I mean, yes, I'm sure if I looked at a PS5 and a PS5 Pro, you could see the difference. But if we just stayed at this level of graphics, I'd be totally fine. Most of the games that we're going to talk about for the main topic of this show is the exact opposite of good graphics.
Yeah, they're games that like you don't need.
I don't care.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. Like, that's one of the things that show with AAA gaming being where it's at. I mean, it's becoming you're giving people less of a reason to move consoles and move to things, because the things that are winning are the indies. Robert also says congrats to Randy on his NFL team ranking. Susan will never be broken. He's right.
Do you know what that record is, by the way? I know it's a video game podcast, but you know what that record
what is the record? No.
You have as many interceptions this year as the New York Jets defense did.
Wow.
The Jets went 17 games, 0 defensive interceptions.
Damn. That's crazy.
You can't take that away from us. There was another team like in the 1930s that did it, but they didn't play 17 games.
Yeah, no. 1930s is a whole different game.
Hey. And we still only got the second big stupid record.
Yeah, somehow the Raiders were worse. Yeah, I mean, moving on to that, we did talk about I definitely think the Switch 2 is going to get price increase. Like, that's a no-brainer. They were waiting for the holiday season to go by, and I think once you get past the first quarter, we're going to definitely see it go up.
Mm-hmm. But now, are they going to announce it the way that Saros announced their delay?
Oh, yeah.
It's just going to pop up. They're not going to make a thing of it. It's like, hey, get the Nintendo Switch for X amount of dollars, but they're not going to act like, hey, we had to raise it. We're sorry. Like, Saros just went, hey, we're coming out. What was it? Like February. And then Game Awards is like, hey, we're out in March. And they're like, wait, what? We have a delay now. Why don't you just say, sorry, we're pushing it back a couple weeks?
Yeah.
I think Nintendo's just going to go, hey, play the new Mario game on the Switch 2. That's $600.
I do think they're going to make some kind of social media announcement, because they have to. Like,
that's why they made their social media app.
Right. So yeah. I don't think they're going to do it on Nintendo today. That will definitely be a tweet, and then they'll put the PR stuff about it, and then it's like, okay, well, whatever, market conditions or all the stuff ever. I do agree with you, Robert. I think it has to do with the fact that, like, your biggest game was Donkey Kong Bonanza and a Pokemon that wasn't one of the main series Pokemon. So even though Legends ZA sold well, you also had a Metroid Prime that was kind of, very not. It feels like it got good ratings, but then it feels like it just kind of sunk into the nothingness. I think this year is huge.
The rule, right?
What is that?
You have to have a Mario at launch, or at least in the first year. If you want your system to be successful, Mario has to be there in an actual Mario game, not Mario Kart, in the first year.
And you have to have a, generation-defining Legend of Zelda game to launch your system. I
can play that on the Wii U.
But yes, that is where I was going to go with this.
I was going to grab it as a haha, but it's on the other shelf.
Of the Nintendo, this is a big year for them. The Switch 2 has to look. They've sold well. They broke records as far as like how quickly they sold, how many they've sold to this point. Like, it's not like the system is doing badly. It's the whole, like, you're not in the zeitgeist, right? Nobody's talking about you.
It's exactly what Robert said. It's like, it came out, everyone was excited, and then everyone, literally, all the podcasts I listened to basically went, well, Mario Kart wasn't as good as I thought.
Yeah.
And then it dropped off. Everyone, like, as you said, Donkey Kong Bonanza got some hype. Metroid got hype until it came out, and then that didn't hit as well as people had hoped. But yeah, they need something. They need their Animal Crossing moment that the Switch had. That like adds a lot of length to their system. So I'm curious. I mean, obviously the Switch sold a lot, but if the pandemic doesn't happen and Animal Crossing becomes such like a pop culture phenomenon for a summer, like does the Switch break the records? I'm not sure.
I really, and I kept hammering this home, and I had people getting mad at me that it doesn't matter, it's Nintendo, whatever. And I said, listen, the pandemic had a huge thing of why there was so many Switches sold, because people bought multiple Switches because they didn't want to have to be sharing, because they're all in the house. Like, that matters. And of course, you had the perfect game to be in the house, the Animal Crossing, all that, like, look, everybody did well during the pandemic, but Nintendo benefited hugely, and they're not going to have that hand to God, hopefully we don't have that again. They're not going to have that this time to like bump up sales. So they're not going to get to 160 million. I just don't see that, especially not when this feels like, it's just a bigger, nicer looking, graphically more powerful Switch, and also you do have Switch 2 exclusive games, but you still are making stuff for Switch 1 right now. And then also the stuff that's going on, like, it makes you wonder of like, do they delay some of these like Switch 2, the big games that are going on, right?
But I will say, I mean, I made this joke last year before the Switch 2 came out, and I had to eat crow because obviously it sold way better than I was expecting. But I felt the Switch 2 was going to be very Wii U-ish. Yeah. Because they didn't change the name, and parents are going to look at it and go, well, we already have the Switch. And Nintendo's going, and you can play these games on the Switch.
Right.
For the most part. And that's what I felt. And obviously they sold a bunch that first year, but you have to be able to ride that momentum. And I continue to say the Wii U gets a bad rap because it didn't sell a lot, but a lot of the best-selling games that came out on the Switch
are the Wii U games.
Came out on the Wii U, but nobody played them. And that could be the exact same thing for the Switch too. You can have these amazing games that'll come out in a few years, and nobody will play them because they went, well, we already had the Switch. We'll see.
Yeah, I would hope so. Like, that's the thing of, I hope for Nintendo's sake, for the people, as somebody that bought a Switch 2, I want reasons to use my Switch 2, for games that I know I'm not going to be able to review because, we never get Nintendo codes, so whatever. But it's like, here's what they got right now, which there's pretty decent lineup, but you got Animal Crossing New Horizons Switch 2 edition. That's the first one in January. Mario Tennis Fever in February. You got the Virtual Boy going to Switch Online. Nobody cares about that, but it's there. Pokemon Pokopia, that could be pretty big. Pokemon Minecraft, essentially. You've got down the line, as I
there's a Yoshi game, I think, right?
You got the Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. You got Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, which I know is on Mark's list. That's a huge. Fire Emblem always does well for them. It's not like, Mario, Zelda, Smash Brothers, that kind of thing, but it's a big franchise. You got Pokemon 30th anniversary this year, which that's gotta mean you're getting Gen 10.
Hold on. I know it's not fully Nintendo and Pokemon is its own thing, but can Nintendo fans just stop with anniversaries? Nintendo does not care. We do this every year.
Yeah, look what they're doing for the Mario anniversary.
It's Mario's anniversary. It's Zelda's anniversary. Like they announced like 4 things, and everyone gets all butthurt because they didn't get the one thing they wanted.
Right.
Like you're not going to get the big thing. Plus, like to me, the next anniversary should be 50. Like everyone's like, oh, it's the 40th one or it's the 35th one. Like, guys, like that's not a big anniversary. Like, let them get to 50 and then let them like blow it out. But it's not going to be that way every time. You're not going to get some amazing thing every 5 years from Mario. It gets stale, and Nintendo understands that. So let's just like, oh, it's Zelda's 40th anniversary. Well, guys, you're not all of a sudden get every Zelda game in one package, and you can just go play them on their Nintendo store right now anyway.
Yeah, I do think that part of that is because you have to remember the main people that like these games are our generation, and when we get really old, those anniversaries aren't going to matter that much because
no,
you know,
a lot of this is somebody that hit my 40th anniversary a couple of years ago, and that did not matter.
Yeah, I'm going to be 40 this year, so you know.
Well, I didn't mean to make your 40th anniversary seem like it didn't matter, sir. I apologize.
Look, I don't. I'm at that point where it's, you know, it's another day. It's a birthday. Like I got a year older. Cool, you know, whatever. I'm just happy to be on Earth and doing well and whatever, you know. Just to get to pass it with family is all that matters to me at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But look, as far as Nintendo goes, they are going to make a big deal out of these. I know people are like already wishing for pie in the sky, like you said. Oh, we're going to get all the old games, right? Like all the original Pokemons and Gold and Silver and all that. You know, we'll see if that actually happens. It does feel like Gen 10 needs to happen at this point, especially because you need to erase the crap that was Scarlet and Violet from everybody's memory at this point. ZA did a decent job of that, but it's not the same kind of game, and some people are not going to pick up ZA because it is very different. And you also had the 40th anniversary of Zelda, which, you know, I'm sure Robert will be quickly to point out in the chat there. He brought up that Twilight Princess has not appeared on the GameCube Online, and that has been a long rumored remaster that Nintendo just has sitting around. Could it be why it has not appeared on the Switch Online? Could that be one of the main things that they're going to do with this?
We've had enough 3D Zeldas. Can we go back to 2D? We haven't had one since the 3DS.
Yeah.
Come on. Give me what I want, please.
Do you think we get one of those announcements this year at some point, whether it's a 3D Mario or some sort of new Zelda?
I think a new Mario game is almost... Well, I would say almost a lock, but that same team just did Donkey Kong Bonanza, so maybe not.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know.
It's interesting because like you don't. I mean, Miyamoto said, you know, the big thing for this is going to be the movie, right? So we're not doing a big game. They're doing Mario Wonder Switch 2 edition, which who cares, you know?
Right.
Most of these Switch 2 editions have been really underwhelming, to be honest. That's another thing too. It's like most of the stuff they're adding for these Switch 2 editions are like, okay, who cares? You know, like,
yeah. But I will say that stuff still doesn't bother me because they're not charging too much, and a lot of it is just basically a reason to get the Switch 2 version if you haven't
outside of a graphical upgrade or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's their way of hiding the fact that everything's $10 more on the Switch 2 than it is the Switch. So they go, here's something for you. Everyone's like, well, it's not that great. It was like, we didn't care. We just wanted $10 more.
I feel like you have to get a Mario announcement. That's what everybody is waiting on to feel like the Switch kicked off with the Switch 2.
I would have said that if it wasn't for Bonanza.
Right. Even if it's, and like it can't be 2D Mario. Like, man, it's been since Odyssey, since the launch of the Switch 1. Like,
and we've had a 2D Mario. Wonder came out 2 years ago. So
yeah,
I mean, it's a little different Mario 2D from 3D than Zelda. I know we had the Princess Zelda game that kind of harks back to the old Link to the Past style. But that's what I want. Is like, give me an old school feeling, like Link to the Past. Link Between Worlds was so good on the 3DS. Give me something like that with the old school dungeons and whatnot. Everyone can have the Breath of the Wilds and Tears of the Kingdom style Zeldas as well, but give me the Zelda that I enjoyed. That would be the big one. I say as somebody that doesn't plan on getting a Switch 2, so don't listen to me.
Yeah. Do you a game that Nintendo is very much probably really betting on is the From Software Dustbloods game, which is exclusive for the Switch 2.
It's still weird. It's still weird to me.
Do you think that comes out this year? Because like it feels like they already had to delay Elden Ring to this year, which is crazy. It's an old game. It should have been able to play on the Switch 2, but they had it on I think it was Summer Game Fest. They had it on the floor and it ran like crap. So they had to delay it. And that's another thing. It's like the Switch 2 is new. How do you have games already running like crap on there? You know, and I worry about Dustbloods. Like that's a multiplayer game. Like it has to run well.
Yes.
That's what makes me believe. I think they will delay it. I don't think it comes out this year to me.
Did they say 2026 during the reveal of that? Or are people just hoping?
I think people are thinking because it's like, okay, you revealed it. Like there's no way you're gonna announce something and then it's not gonna come out for almost an entire 2 years. Like that seems crazy, you know?
Oh, did nobody remembers Elden Ring? Or not Elden Ring, but Elder Scrolls
being announced Elder Scrolls
10 years ago? No, it's I don't think it would come out, but I honestly can't remember if it said 2026 on the trailer or not. I think it's a really cool side project from Software. I don't even think it's their like main focus, but they don't really have.
Oh, it's definitely not. Bandai Namco's not even publishing it.
Yeah, so it's one of those that we'll finish it as we get there. But you know, this Elden Ring thing's kind of giving us some good money, and and we can go.
And they got Night Rain and all that too. I mean, I think definitely we're gonna get Mario Kart World DLC.
Yes, yeah, you have to.
Another one, just before we move off of Nintendo, another one that I've seen a lot. IGN talked about it in their video as well. Smash Brothers. Do you think that they do Ultimate again, and then just a Switch 2 edition of Ultimate, and then we're gonna add more characters?
I don't
know. How can you do another one?
Yeah. After Ultimate, you can never come out with the Smash Brothers that doesn't have that list ever again. Like, if you come out with a game called Smash Brothers and you don't have the 97 people that you had in Ultimate, unless it's 30 years down the line and somebody else is just bringing it back. You remember this old game from back in the day? And then you bring it back. I get it. But you have to be able to have your entire list of characters and go, all right, now we're going to have the Switch 2 seasons for Smash Brothers. So get excited and get back into it. We allowed him to make his Kirby Air Riders game. so now he's back to work on Smash Brothers. We gave him his break. But no, you cannot come out with a Switch 2 and go, here's Super Smash Brothers, not so Ultimate, with the original 16 characters and no guest characters. No, it's impossible at this point that jar cannot be twisted back on.
Yeah, I mean I think the only way you could is if you announce that Sakurai is done and he has nothing to do with the development. Maybe he's consulting at that point, but it's a whole new team, and so therefore then they have to earn.
You just can't call it Smash Brothers.
Well, but I think you would then have to earn like getting some of these because you don't have the legendary figure behind it, right?
No, I would understand why the other companies would back away from it and why you couldn't get the characters back. But I'm just saying, if you make a brand new game, you can't call it Smash Brothers unless everyone is still here. Like, it worked back in the day with Melee and Brawl because you had a couple of guest characters. That's why Tekken still works with it, where you get a couple of guest characters here and there. But when you have Ultimate, where you brought everyone back and then made such a big deal for years of all the guest characters that you brought in, you can't put that back. As well, you can't then just do a Tekken thing. It's like, well, sorry, Darth Vader's not in this game. Sorry, it's a little different than what Smash Ultimate became.
Yeah, I agree with you in that part of them. Like, you're gonna just have so many people that be like, "Man, I'm not doing this again. I'm not rebuying characters again." Like, especially because you could play it on Switch One still. It's not like you can't. Um, I did see that there was some thought at some point of like some folks talking about, well, maybe they just reboot it and we start all over with, oh, it's just like a roster of 16 and then
That's just tough.
whatever, and
At least not on the Switch
Yeah.
2. If you go that route, you have to skip this generation.
yeah, I can see that point too. Yeah, you have to skip this generation. Yeah, look, there's a lot of possibilities for the Switch. I'll talk about the one game that I'm really super excited about from what we know of the Switch 2 lineup so far. And later when we talk about our games, but I just really think that the Switch 2, also I really hope that we get the Xenoblade announcement. It's been a while that Monolith Soft's been working on it, and they supposedly have another project that has nothing to do with Xenoblade that they're also working on. Like, it'd be cool if we got both of them. Just to kind of know what's in the pipeline, right? Because now we got all the Xenoblades that have been out, right? We have the 1, 2, 3, and X finally, after we thought X wasn't going to come. So this is a new start, and we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, I feel like the Switch 2 is the one that we got to know where those heavy hitters are.
Yeah, and Nintendo is really good. Like I feel every year when we have these prediction podcasts, that is like, what is Nintendo going to do this year? And then come February, we go, man, Nintendo, they got these next 6 months down, but what do they got in the fall? And then here comes another direct to get you all set for the fall. They're really good about kind of pacing out their announcements where they don't get too far ahead. So prediction podcasts like this become a little bit tough because we go, well, what are they doing? And then here they come with a bunch of stuff. Last year, a little different because we all knew the Switch 2 was getting ready to be announced. And literally, it was like a week after we had our predictions podcast that the Switch 2 got announced. And everyone was able to really see what was coming down the line. So I give it a month. And I think the picture for Nintendo will be a lot more clear.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Once they have that first direct in February, we're gonna know a lot more. And I'm assuming we're gonna get dates for a lot of the stuff that they really need the dates for. So
right.
But moving on to PlayStation here, the company that you kind of identify the most with. We know that they've got kind of one in the spring and then the one in the fall that we don't know exactly where, in Saros and then Marvel's Wolverine. I don't know how much you played of Returnal. Are you excited for Saros?
I've never played Returnal. I'm curious about Saros. Maybe I will dabble with Returnal just to kind of see how it was, because I think it's on PlayStation Plus right now. But that's just a game that I just skipped over that year it came out. I don't even know why, but I never played the first one.
Yeah, I did not either. I've thought about it many times once it was on PS Plus, and I just never got around to it. It's like, I like the idea of it. Like, I like the bullet hell kind of thing, but the whole roguelike thing just kind of pushes me away because like I don't like having to redo the same thing over and over. Like with Hades, it works, but other games have been hard.
I'd say the same thing, but my number 3 game of the year last year was Ball Pit, which is exactly what you said.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a roguelike, and it turns into a bullet hell when you get to the boss. So the exact same thing.
The bigger thing is obviously, does Wolverine actually come out? I guess we also have to tie this in. Does Grand Theft Auto 6 actually come out? Because it will determine what happens with Wolverine. I feel like, do you think that the idea has always been Wolverine's going to come September, October, and it doesn't matter? Or maybe they had the idea of Wolverine coming in November, and now they have to think about it? Do you think it gets delayed maybe out of 2026 completely? Like, you
No,
haven't?
I'm hoping for Wolverine come August, September. It seems like the right kind of fit for them. I want to say that's when Spider-Man 1 and 2 both came out, was around that window, or at least my foggy memory believes it to be that way. I know Miles Morales came out launch your PS5, which was a bit later. But it really fits with what you said. You get one in the spring, one in the fall, as far as your two big heavy hitters. You kind of rely on third party support the rest of the way. And of course, the big one, Grand Theft Auto, is if it hits when it's supposed to, then that will allow you to get everything out of the way. But again, Sony is still reeling from their decision to do all those multiplayer games and try to find their cash cow like Apex Legends and Overwatch and stuff, and watching one after another completely fall apart, and then going, oh crap, we just tied up all of our big studios on all of these different games. Scratch that, please. Let's move on to something else. And then over the next year, you hear, oh, well, we haven't heard from Bluepoint forever, but they were working on this one game for years, and then they had to cancel it. Naughty Dog was working on The Last of Us multiplayer and had to toss that away. So they're still reeling from that because most of their games, or most of their companies, working on games that we will never see. So they really need Saros to hit well enough come the spring, and then they really need Wolverine to come out in the fall and be that single player game that Sony was known for so long. Their character driven action single player content.
Just to go over that for you, Spider-Man 1 was September and Spider-Man 2 was October.
Cool. There you go. So I'll go with September. September will be my guess, especially if GTA 6 does not get pushed out. You want to be able, because again, Wolverine is not a game that you need a big window for. It's not multiplayer, so you don't need it to stretch out long. You just need, hey, here's 2 months. Come in, hop in. It's a 10 to 20 hour experience, unless you want to go for the platinum. Enjoy it while you do, and then move on to GTA 6 when it comes out.
Yeah, I definitely think that Sony can't wait forever to announce that. Like, maybe I do think, if Take-Two is going to delay it out of 2026, so Grand Theft Auto, which they can definitely do that. I mean, it doesn't really matter when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. It is going to be,
it will make $1 billion.
The event of the year, whatever, when it does. If they want to delay it again to May 2027, they could do that. People are going to get upset, but it's whatever, and I think that would open the, but I think if they do that, they're going to announce it like September, October, whatever. Even maybe August, like around like Gamescom time or whatnot. They're not going to wait until like the week before and go, oh, I'm sorry, we're going to delay now. Right.
I mean, you think about this. We know it's in November now instead of, what was it, June?
May. Yeah.
Or was it, May, like a month ago. So they weren't even close to May. And they went, guys, we got a little ahead of ourselves.
And especially now that they know, like, it didn't cause this big commotion with the stocks or whatever either, that they can delay it. People would just keep waiting. Right. But I do think that it affects everything that's announced, going around there. When we get to Xbox, it's even a bigger deal for them because they have more games. But that's like my question with Sony is the only other games that we kind of know about as far as like sort of first party inclined, right? Well, Marathon is first party because they own Bungie. That is supposed to be coming at some point between like March, April, something like that. You got 4 Loop, which is that Bad Robots, like Left 4 Dead like game that they showed off at Game Awards. And then you got the Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, which that looks great. Every time they've shown it, it looks really cool. Where do you think like these are gonna? I feel like Tokon Fighting Souls is gonna do what they wanted to do. I feel like that's gonna do great. I worry about Marathon and 4 Loop. Like, you have 2 duds again with the live service.
Yeah, 1,000% you could have 2 duds there. I think again, Marvel Token Fighting Souls. fighting game fans hopefully will attach to it. And they're not worried about Grand Theft Auto 6 with that game. You just got to make sure you're dodging, like if a Mortal Kombat comes out with something, or if any of the other major fighting games, you need to avoid them really. But that game can come out. They've been showing a ton of that. Marathon and For Loop are not my kind of games. I honestly don't care when they come out. And I mean, I hope they do well because Sony needs a win. They haven't, especially these multiplayer games.
It's like Helldivers and that's
left
it.
And right.
Yeah.
And Helldivers was a win for a bit. Like it was hot for 3 months, and then I never heard another peep about that game. So Sony has, for the most part, when Helldivers is your biggest success in that market, it's not gone the way that they had originally planned out 4 years ago. So they need at least one of these to hit. And if one's going to hit, I would bet on Marathon because it is from the Bungie people. And hopefully they make that work. But I don't remember the last time I heard anything from that game.
I mean, it's been a cavalcade of bad news for Marathon, and that beta that they had after the whole debacle with the stolen art and whatever didn't go well. And then they've had the second playtest, which seems to be kind of like getting things back on track, but it's still that whole outside of like the people that are hardcore, like Destiny players, like hardcore Bungie people. It still feels like you're getting a lot of people that are not sold on it at all. And now that you have even more options of Battlefield 6 and Arc Raiders out there, I don't know. It doesn't bode well for Bungie. I know people were kind of saying, "Oh, well, we should let them come out first and kind of get that wave, and then people are going to be itching for that new game." And it's like everybody says that, and then they just stick with the same game that they're still playing. So.
Yeah. They all say that, and then Concord happens.
Exactly. That's the first thing people said when Highguard got shown at the Game Awards was Concord 2.
Good luck to that game.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
That's coming out this month at the end of the month, January 26th. We'll see how that does. But that's the kind of And to bring this up, to stay on that thing, the only other two games that we kind of know, aside from the NCSoft Horizon thing, and the Ratchet and Clank like mobile game or whatever, which I'm sure you were disappointed to find out that exists.
It won't be played by me, so that's fine.
Is the Gorilla Horizon multiplayer game and Fair Games, which we've heard nothing about either. We've seen Fair Games once, that was it. And then the Horizon multiplayer game, it's been a rumor that we know exists. They have confirmed it exists. And then that's it. Like, I think if there's one game that could do well, it's the Horizon one. Because that series has sold incredibly well. Every time everybody says, "Oh, but it's not a big deal. It sells."
Did the VR game for Horizon?
Call of the Mountain.
I mean, obviously,
those sold decent.
Yeah,
but the PSVR 2 itself hasn't sold. Yeah,
it's on the PSVR 2, so you can't sell blockbusters on it by any means. But
right.
I don't know whatever happened to that rumored 2D God of War game. Like, can we throw that in here somewhere? Is that getting close enough to being complete? I'd be totally fine.
Yeah,
with something like that. How fast can Bluepoint turn around and do something after you kind of toss them off of whatever the heck they were working on?
Are we getting those God of War remasters finally because of the show being kind of more in a full production?
Yeah, we're kind of at that point where Sony, again, not a lot came out last year. Not a lot's looking like it's going to be big this year. So how much do they care about first party game sales compared to get the systems out? Like Nintendo kind of went through that same lull and threw out a bunch of remasters and collections and stuff to kind of band-aid what they were going through. And then the next thing you know, they were coming out with a bunch of stuff. So is that what Sony's going to do? Or they're just going to go, hey, just play this other fantastic game on our system and we'll be totally happy?
Yeah, and the only other big exclusives they have, the third-party ones, are Nioh 3 and Phantom Blade 0.
Two other games that aren't my thing, but
yeah, I'm excited about Phantom Blade 0 a little bit. Nioh 3, I don't care.
Mhm.
That's more of a Mark and Yen's
Mhm.
thing, but I'm kind of believing the hype on Phantom Blade 0, but we'll see when it comes out. It could definitely be another First Berserker Kazan where people were really hyped about it and then it did nothing. So we'll see, but that's coming out in September. Definitely a long time for that. The last of the consoles here, Xbox, the one that's not so much caring about whether it's a console or not at this point. I feel like if there's anybody more likely to increase prices on stuff, it would be Xbox. Like, they've already increased the price of their console so many times. Like, what do they care to do it again?
Can they survive another price increase on Game Pass though?
No.
I don't think so either.
I feel like the $30
right on
was
that edge.
Yeah. That's exactly where I am. Like, you make it, I think you could do like a couple dollars. I think when you get past 35, that's when it's like, no, man. You're talking
Unless you're
about
coming out with a big release every year, and you can sell it.
but
Well, you can get it
they
for
are.
$70, or you can get it for this.
They are, but the problem is that it's not just that. It's if games don't go to $80, that you're not getting the deal that you were getting. Like right now, it's still kind of like a deal, right? Because it's still $40 less than what you would pay. So you can still have it for 2 months, beat the game, and then you still save like what, $10?
Right.
$15 or whatever. So like it's still in that, and then they are providing a lot more games. Like, it seems like they are at least providing one big indie, and then you have, with their cadence of games that are coming out, you have enough stuff now where it's like you could say, okay, well, this was worth $30. And if you look at this year, because they're celebrating, what is it, 20th anniversary of Xbox?
25?
25,
Yeah.
that's right. You have the big four, right? Fable, Forza Horizon 6, Gears E-Day, and then the Halo campaign Evolved, the remake of Halo 1. And then you also have Clockwork Revolution, which looked really great at the summer game, their Game Fest thing. This is where I think GTA 6 affects more. Is where do you have the timeline to put all of these games out, and none of them can come out in November? Because this year, November, they stacked it to the point where I felt like Keeper got absolutely destroyed because you had Ninja Gaiden 4 and I can't remember the other game come out.
Outer Worlds 2.
Outer Worlds
everyone
2.
forgot about too. My wife played it, but it got completely.
But Outer Worlds 2 is probably the only one that got some kind of buzz out of the stuff that came out last year. I think Avowed got for a little bit because there was like nothing else out at that point. But April, something in there got swallowed by Elder Scrolls Oblivion remaster getting shadow dropped, and then Clair Obscur.
I was gonna say Expedition was a big one too.
Yeah, and then like November, you had Call of Duty. October. I'm sorry, October is where they did the triple release, and then they had Call of Duty like 2 weeks later, and it's like, okay, well, that stuff kind of just all came and went. Call of Duty wasn't good for them last year. That's another thing too. Like, if you're gonna Call of Duty, do you think that this, with what happened with the announcement that they made, do you think this could be the year where they go, man, we got Grand Theft Auto 6 coming in our window. We have other games that we need to put out. Do we delay it? Do we just not have one?
This would honestly be the perfect year. Battlefield kicked your butt this year. Like everybody liked that game far more than you. I know they don't fully care because they just want the money. But if Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, like I would almost just plan it. Like, all right, we're not gonna have a Call of Duty game this year. We're going to revamp and make next year better. They can still work on Warzone because I'm sure that's still bringing in a lot of money for them as well. But that's perfect for them. And as far as the big four, I think 2 of them come out this year.
I think Halo has to come out.
Halo has to come out because it's going to be big on PlayStation as well, and that's kind of their thing. And I think,
and it's also a remake of a game that already exists, like
And it's going to be the easiest one out of all of these games to make. And I think Forza comes out.
Forza is the spring. I think that's coming out like April.
But I do not think Gears of War comes out, and I definitely do not think Fable comes out. Right. Fable is a next gen game at this point.
Really?
If they're talking 2027 for a new Xbox system, then why not just go, all right, that is our launch game for whatever this
It would be super interesting. Playground Games is making both Forza Horizon and Fable. They've already announced the one company that we know is going to be at the developer direct in a couple weeks is Playground Games. That is crazy to think. You're not the first one that I've heard say this, but it's crazy to think that you're going to have only one of their games and not the other one.
Well, I mean,
because
they could definitely surprise, because it was the same thing with Indiana Jones. You're like, oh, this is like a couple years out, and they're like, it comes out in November. Like, oh, okay,
yeah.
But with Fable, yes, we've heard about it for years, but it's always been the same cinematic trailer for Fable.
Or they showed that gameplay that was like alpha gameplay. It wasn't even,
So, like, other than the fact that it's Fable, and we know what Fable is about because they've come out with games before, we don't know diddly about this game.
Other than they got some actors.
Giant. They got a big giant played by the guy from the IT crowd. That's kind of all I know.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's one of those games that is very much about how beautiful it looks. So, especially with GTA 6 looming, that is the game that they can afford to push and then make it a 2027 game, which then why not just push it and make it a launch game for your new system at that point? Like, Gears can wait a year, and I still think it will.
I could see Gears also coming in December because they like that December window, and Gears has come out in the holiday season of 4.
And honestly, E-Day is not going to be that big game. You're not going to have a Halo ready for whatever new system if it is next year. So I think Fable is the perfect candidate at this point if you're worried about GTA 6. Unless they come out with again their big showcase here soon, and they go, we are taking the GTA 6 spot, and we will see you in May, which would shock me. But that is the only other thing you can do with Fable. It's either May in the old GTA 6 spot, or you push it to next year.
Well, Clockwork Revolution has to come out somewhere. That game looked like it was ready at the Summer Game Fest at their summer showcase. Sorry, so that's got to be coming somewhere, like maybe. I don't know, August again.
I hate to say this because I really liked how that game looked. That could get in that exact same situation where they just throw it out and they don't care what competition it has, and then it doesn't work, and then they go, well, see, nobody wanted to play this game.
Well, I don't know. I mean, with all that time that you spent with Exile, and that's the only game they've been working on, and it looks really good, and it's so. I hope not. I hope they don't put it out there to die. Like, that would really suck. The only other game that it's State of Decay 3. Like, what is going on with that game? We have seen, and also Replaced has now been announced. It is March 12th, by the way. So we know that is like one big indie Xbox Game Pass game that people have been waiting on for years now. And we finally got a release date here. Like State of Decay 3, like nothing. It got announced 2 years ago, or they showed off a little bit of it 2 years ago, and then nothing now. So it's like, where is that at? They've canceled so many other things that they've shown that I'm like, well, we'll see. And yeah, like what surprises are they going to have?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest thing from them is, do you think that when it comes summer showcase time, they're showing off that console?
It makes sense because they showed off the Series X at the Game Awards before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have that relationship with Jeff Keighley. It would make sense.
Yeah,
If that's coming out next year, you either do it at or at Summer Game Fest, or maybe you wait for Game Awards. But that all kind of depends on if the big four are coming out. You have to delay announcing this new system until all those come out. If you're planning on them coming out before the new system,
right?
At least as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, I think we do see something with it, even if it's just like, okay, here's the specs, or here's kind of like what it's going to be able to do. You know, you would assume that at that point they have that full screen experience much more fleshed out, and they're going to be able to kind of show you some of the little tricks and things that it's going to be able to do. I think that is important. Again, you need to kind of get that out the door. You don't want to be waiting around to see what Sony's going to do, even though they're going to be much more traditional console based. But yeah, if they're just going to decide to delay everything, then maybe you just don't say anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see, I guess, when it gets closer to that. But that is going to be kind of a looming thing. Think more so
it's
than
the clever. You can't delay a game if you don't say the release date.
Exactly, that's true. Very much like Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
6.
It'll come out when it's ready.
It'll come out whenever, But all right, we've done our kind of like talking about what the big three are gonna do. Is Grand Theft Auto coming or not? Which officially you feel like it's coming, right? It's gonna hit that date, or you think it's gonna get delayed?
I do believe that at least the story mode of GTA 6 will release whatever day it was, November 19th.
Number 19, yeah.
They could do the same thing as 5 and push multiplayer back a month or whatever. Because that's what they did before. They did the story, and then a month later, online came out, and then 6 months later, you could actually play online because it didn't suck more. It was a rough launch for multiplayer, even though they delayed it.
Yeah,
but I'm very excited to see what they finally show off and what you can do in that game, because I was actually talking with Wes yesterday about it. It was like GTA 5 was one of those games that the story was wild and over the top. It was the first GTA game I think I've ever finished. And even on top of it, there were 9 billion things to do in that game. And then they just crushed it with the online, with the stuff that they added. And you and I could play GTA 5 online right now and both play for 10 hours and not do the same style of gameplay once. How much they added to GTA 5.
You're not wrong there. That's true. I mean, part of me is leaning to getting delayed again. Last year I was adamant that it was going to get delayed.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't even have it. I had it on my okay, it is number 1, but I don't think it's coming. I'm kind of leaning towards that again, but I'm going to say it is going to come out just because, man, it's been a while, man. People are waiting. People are getting antsy for this. They want to see more. The fact that they haven't shown anything aside from that trailer is kind of worrisome, but they got the whole year to do that. So
yeah, and I want to say they did that with 5 too. They had that trailer of where it's coming out, and then it was 2 months, 3 months maybe before the game's release date, where they came out with the here is Grand Theft Auto 5, and it was just insane, all the stuff you could do.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get to our games that we're super excited about, the one game that you and I both are probably more excited about than any that we know is not coming this year, but it would make my entire year if we get a trailer, if we hear something. Final Fantasy 7 Part 3.
God, how is that not a Game Awards? I was so ready.
Yeah, me too. I was so ready for that to be there. They got to have something this year, right? They got to have a trailer. They have to have.
The game's not coming out this year by any means. I don't think either of us are trying to trick ourselves into that. But they've got to announce it with the name here soon-ish. Maybe a big game trailer come Summer Game Fest.
So I was going to say this. Do you think State of Play or Summer Game Fest?
Maybe first reveal with the State of Play. And then the big trailer, like the first big story trailer at Summer Game Fest. I'm with Maximilian, dude, that this game comes out January, February of 2027.
Agree. Yeah. Same thing with the Rebirth. It's going to come around that time.
And then again, anniversaries, but 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy 7 and all that stuff. Finish the trilogy on that year. They like to have their Final Fantasy remake trilogy games come out early. I know Remake came out, was it June? But it was
April. Remake was the same time around, like almost close to the pandemic.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be February, and then it got delayed, and then it became a pandemic game, and then everything all works together.
You had the whatchamacallit, the 7 the Zack game in December of the year that it came out, or whatever.
Yeah, Crisis Core.
Crisis Core Reunion. Yeah, exactly. Crisis Core Reunion. So like they love that time. That like time of somewhere between November-ish and Final Fantasy 15 came out in November, but that thing got delayed a bunch of times.
I believe January, February of 2027 for when that comes out. So within the next 2 months, we get the reveal trailer with the name, maybe a date if they want to get spicy with it, and the big story trailer, and then at least the date then for.
And we know Nojima's working on a second book as well that's gonna make the lore even wider.
The lore is always nutty.
So, we'll see. I really want them to announce something. Don't know if we're gonna get anything else Final Fantasy related. There's still the whole idea of could we get the Final Fantasy 9 remake, remaster? I
don't know. That's
the anniversary time passed already, but
is that the one NVIDIA leak that was actually fake out of the whole thing? I think
I don't think it was fake. I think it's true that
they were working on it.
They were working on it, and then it just didn't. It didn't pan out for some reason or another. No. We'll see, I guess, but yeah, that's one for sure that we'll have to kind of pay attention to. We are going to talk about Square Enix a few times on here, so they do have games that they're working on. Also, we kind of need to know what the heck's going on with Dragon Quest 12. That game is
Dragon Warrior. I refuse to call it Dragon Quest ever. I'm old and American. It's Dragon Warrior, people.
Okay. But yeah, man, like I guess let's go ahead and get into it. Do you have any honorable mentions, games that you're excited about that you don't think are going to come out? Let's go ahead and throw that out there.
I have 3 honorable mentions, and I have 3 games that would make the list if I had any faith that they were coming out this year. I just don't believe it. The 3 games that I don't think are coming out this year that if they do, man, they would be high up on my list. Of course, Bradley the Badger, which we saw at Game Awards. That game looks phenomenal and right up my alley as far as the humor and stuff goes. I don't think Bloober Team is quite ready for Silent Hill Remake. It was just a couple of years ago for Silent Hill 2, so I don't think that's quite ready. The turnaround could be pretty decent, but they just came out with Chronos as well. So my hopes are not high that is a 2026 game. And there's a game, Liminal Point. that IGN has listed as a December 31st, 2026 release date.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to believe in that. But it has that old school Resident Evil, Silent Hill vibes.
I saw it
to
a little bit before we started, and I was like, oh, that's Randy right there.
The map just screams Resident Evil. So when that game comes out, I will definitely be playing it. But again, IGN has it as a last day of 2026. So I do not believe it'll come out this year. Honorable mentions that did not quite make my list. I liked Control. I enjoyed that game. The Resident game looks very interesting. I still need to get around to playing Alan Wake 2. I have it downloaded on the PlayStation. I just haven't started playing it yet. I did not like the first Alan Wake as much, but I also played it 15 years after it came out, or however long ago that first game came out. I played it like 2 years ago, and it didn't age that well. But I like those games, so I'm curious about it, but it didn't quite make my 10. Onimusha, Way of the Sword, same thing. I really loved the original when it came out. I never played 2 or 3. Also kind of curious if that comes out or not. Capcom has a lot in the works this year, but that just misses. And then one that comes out like, in the next month or two? That Cairn game.
Cairn rock climbing at the end of this year. Yeah. At the end of the month, I'm sorry. End of the month.
I've been seeing more and more of that game. It looks really, really interesting, and all the mechanics that they've done. I just watched a video when I was making this list where they added a deal to it to give you more control over everything because of people playing the demo said, I would like this, and they were adding stuff to it. So I'm very curious about that one, but it didn't quite make my top 10, if you would. So those are my honorable mentions.
All right. I think Mark doesn't have any honorable mentions, so we will skip him there. He did give me. Oh no, he did. He said honorable mention is Ace Combat 8, Wings of Thieves that got announced at the Game Awards. That is on my. I'm excited for it, but I don't think it's going to come out this year.
That's fair.
Along with Judas.
Yeah, I didn't even put it on mine. It was on my list last year, and I never heard a word.
Same thing. It was on my list last year, and also on my list last year. I think is also going to continue to not be coming out is Marvel 1943: Rise of Hydra, the Captain America Black Panther game. Honorable mentions for me. There's a few. Slay the Spire 2. I love Slay the Spire. One of my favorite games. That I will go back to still and play here and there. That's supposed to be coming like spring this year in early access. So I'm excited to try that out. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined looks great. They just came out with the opening movie today, and they announced that there's a demo coming out on Wednesday that will, if you play it, you get progress to the actual game. This comes out February 5th. I got through like half of the 3DS game, but that game is like notoriously super long. So I'm hoping that whatever they cut out of this, whatever makes this a bit more malleable. And
no, they added another 15 hours. Don't worry.
Yeah. Still, it's one that I'm looking forward to just because it looks good. And, I like having the Dragon Quest games and enjoying them here and there. So, it is what it is. Another honorable mention for me, Planet Lana 2. I love the first Planet of Lana. So the fact that we're getting the second one already is pretty great, and it looks really great. So also Gears Ide, huge fan of Gears. If that comes, that's another one that's like I don't know if it's going to come out or not. So It is kind of like whatever it is. And one more is that Mouse PI for Hire.
That almost made it. That again, I was trying to keep my honorable mentions down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I kind of got bumped from my honorable mentions. It looks interesting. The art style is wild, but not. It's one of those games that it's either going to hit and be a top 5 game of the year game for me, or I'm just not going to like it. And I can't tell quite yet from that. It's such an interesting game.
Yeah, like I'm excited about it because I love the having was it like Cuphead art style with the shooting. I want to know how much of the detective stuff is in there, because
Right.
if it gets too into the weeds, like that might sour me some. But like it looks great. Like it looks the music sounds awesome. Like having that narration and that old style looks cool. Like I really love all that. So yeah, that was one of the ones like I was fighting to, is it gonna be on the list or not? But yeah, so look, there's a lot of freaking great games.
Oh yeah. And there's going to
already.
We talked about it after last week's podcast that there were so many games that didn't make any of our anticipated lists that ended up high on our Game of the Year list. And that's going to be the same thing this year. But this year, most of my games that are on my top 10 are scheduled to come out in the first 4 months of this year. Because a lot of it is because we just don't know a lot of release dates.
Yeah, because I feel like we'd have a lot more announced towards the back half already if it wasn't for Grand Theft Auto 6 looming. So yeah, there's hardly anything announced past there's nothing in the summer. So past April, there's not a lot. And so and one more I wanted to mention also, because I don't know, I'm worried about it. Is it even going to come out this year? Is Mixtape. Is one that I've really, really been excited about, but it's man, they showed nothing of it almost this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, I know it's not a long game. I know it's not, a lot to it. It feels like, but still, it's man, you're kind of being real quiet about it, So, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead, I guess, and do our 10 through 7 here. Let me just do Mark's.
Sure.
You said Onimusha, Way of the Sword is his number 10. Wolverine, number 9. And Fire Emblem Forces Weave, I'm surprised it's that low, is number 8. And then Control Resonant, which is higher for me, is number 7 for him.
Yeah, all games that I'm very curious about. I haven't played a Fire Emblem game in a long time, so I won't say that I'll play one, but especially because I don't have a Switch 2. But yeah, I think all of those could, if they come out, would not shock me if they're very high on at least Mark's Game of the Year list, if not on the podcast Game of the Year. They're all heavy hitters, that's for sure. For me, and I was really disappointed because then I saw it on your list, and I thought I was this cool kid. But Parasite Mutant is a game that I never even heard of until I was looking through this stuff. Obviously, it's a Parasite Eve clone, and you look it up, and it looks identical to Parasite Eve. And the big thing for me is a demo comes out tomorrow for it.
Awesome.
So I'm going to have a chance to at least check it out and see. There's no release date that I have seen. Maybe it's going to be announced soon after this whole demo deal. And I found out through all this research, thanks to our buddy Wes, that it's not the only Parasite Eve clone that's in the works. Because I asked him if he'd heard about it, and his was a completely different game. I'm scrolling up real quick. 45 Parabellum Bloodhound is a game that's very Parasite Eve-like. I don't think that comes out this year. I think it has only come out with one trailer, but that game looks far more like a PS1 version of Parasite Eve as well, and kind of nails that aesthetic. And just go, if you like the Parasite Eve games, go watch that trailer with audio because it has music to it that is absolutely insane. But yeah, you see this if you're watching the video version of this podcast. This is Parasite Eve. There's so much to this, and they don't even hide it because they put Parasite in the title. So I will be checking out the demo, and hopefully it hits, and this will be a very anticipated game for me this year. Number 9, which I don't know if it gets up higher on Mark's list a little bit later, but Scott Pilgrim EX, which
that is not on Mark's list at all.
But again, is it a game that comes out this year? We will see.
Yeah.
But we all loved the old Scott Pilgrim versus the World game. I know we all tried to play it one day, and it had just come out, and the server absolutely did not allow us to, and then we just never went back to it. But this one is made by the same people that did Shredder's Revenge, which I absolutely loved, and Cosmic Invasion, which I did not get a chance to play this year. But you had it with Scott Pilgrim, and I'm very, very excited for whenever this game comes out to get a chance to play it. You've already talked about my number 8 a little bit when we are talking about Xbox, but Replaced is my number 8. I didn't realize that it did not have a release date yet. So when I was doing my research, I'm like, all right, cool. It comes out in March. And that was news to you. But Replaced was one of those really artsy 2D games that looks phenomenal. That's right up my alley. And just to go right with it, my number 7 is Reanimal, which, of course, is by the creators of Little Nightmares 1 and 2. Little Nightmares 3 was a disappointment to me this year, so makes me even more excited to see what the actual Little Nightmares people have up their sleeve. And again, so Replaced comes out in March. Reanimal is a February 13th release, so I already have some big games early on this year, and this just has the vibe. It's like a bigger version of Little Nightmares for Reanimal. I'm excited to see what they can. I do like that they have the co-op option. So my son, who has gotten very much into the Little Nightmares world and has played the first 2, I think he and I will probably play that game together. So yeah, 4 games that, if they all come out, all indie. Well, I guess Replaced is not quite indie as much. It has that indie feel to it.
It replaces indie, yeah.
But I just, because it's all based around Xbox to me, because it was Game Pass and stuff. But yeah, 4 very indie-like games, much like last year, that are going to be kind of dominating my list.
Yeah, mine is almost a lot of it is indie, because like they just looked more interesting to me, and then like a lot of these, like, what they are, like I haven't even played the first Trails in the Sky remake. I have it. I need to like start playing it at some point, but like I'm excited the second chapter is already coming. Like that's great. But what that is also. So it's like it's not something that I'm like super, super, super excited. So also we don't really know when it's coming. So it's just, it feels like there's a lot, like I meant to talk about it when we were talking about the prediction stuff, but I feel like this is gonna be another year where the indies are gonna dominate. 100%. And we don't know which ones are gonna be the big hits or whatnot.
Especially if Rockstar does not come, or Rockstar, if Grand Theft Auto does not come out this year, to me personally, and the games that I like to play this year is dominated by indies and Capcom.
Yeah, Capcom has a lot of stuff coming this year for sure. Pragmata, which I'm not, is that on your list?
It is on my list.
Okay. Yeah, because Mark does not have it on his. It's not on mine. It's there. Like I'm gonna play the demo now that I can my this laptop can play it. To see if I get excited for it. It kind of looks interesting. Just we'll see.
Amount of people that went like that demo was shocking. I haven't played it yet, but but the amount of people that have said I was interested about the game and now the demo has me sold, has me very excited that
that's great
to work out.
All right, so for me, I'm a huge Suda51 fan. I love all his games, Lollipop Chainsaw, Shadow of the Dams, all that. So he's making a new game, Romeo is the Dead Man. I am there. Day 1, February 11th, that comes out. I am so I'm excited for this, and then also the fact that like the way that they did the trailer, you don't know what it is until later. It becomes kind of obvious that it's a Suda game because it's just so silly. But
I feel like we said this last year. Is this the best February of all time for releases? Because last year was pretty fire too, but all of a sudden, like for how many years was it that, like, all right, we have to wait till like April, May before you get any games, and then they go quiet again for the summer. Like, no,
Yeah.
February is such a banger month. So many good games are coming out. And
Even like late January has started to become like, we
Yeah.
got to put some games in there. And they have that this year with like Code Vein 2 and Karen comes around then, and it's like, and then you got February just blowing up with stuff. This game is so silly. But I just, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what crazy stuff is going to be in that game, and it's going to be oodles of fun. So that's the important part. For me, a game that like really flew under my radar until I started really like looking into it. As I kind of start the year, always kind of looking at the things that I might want to review and stuff like that. It's a game. It's an indie game called 1348 X Voto or Vado. They first kind of showed it off at like the Future Games show, and it's like set in medieval times, like 14th century in Italy, but like the swordplay is like motion captured, and you have like sort of like a action game type swordplay with like the medieval setting. It's not Kingdom Come Deliverance, like ridiculous. Oh my God, we're like living in it. There's a story to this, and it looks really awesome. So
it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So like I am I'm kind of hyped to play this after I saw it, and I was like, oh, you tell me that this swordplay looks great? Like, yeah, go for it, man. I'm totally down. So yeah, that's my number 9. My number 8 is I didn't mention Rhythm Heaven. I forgot. Also, my honorable mentions there. That's the one Nintendo game that I'm kind of excited about. Rhythm Heaven Groove. Rhythm Heaven coming back finally for Switch 2. But there's another rhythm game that's also an RPG that Annapurna announced at one of their Annapurna things called People of Note. That's like a turn-based RPG with like rhythm gameplay, and the like story is kind of unique as well. So I was kind of like, you know what, I'm kind of hyped because it's looks different than other stuff that you would normally see, so again, like, props to these indie teams that are making stuff that, like, who would ever think to put a turn-based gameplay with rhythm stuff in it? Like, nobody really. So, props to them for doing it. Excited about it. And number 7 is the next game from the Crosscode devs, Alabasta Dawn.
Oh, we lost Sean. Sean was so excited about his games, he left, and now he's left me here.
I love
just to talk about all this stuff. Sean, don't leave me again, man. I got nervous.
I knocked myself out of the studio.
You were so excited about this game. Yeah,
so Alabasta Dawn, there's a demo out on Steam if you want to play it. So it's the next game from the Crosscode devs, but it's like so much more. It's a lot bigger, and like there's more kind of to it. It's like more kind of like open worldish with like an isometric view. And I played the demo some, and I liked a lot of what I played. I'm excited by getting to play more of it, and getting to play like the actual like full sort of release of it. And I think anybody that liked Crosscode a lot, I think you're going to be like right at home with this here, because it has a lot of the same like great art style. You have different attacks, stuff like that as well. And you get to hold, I think, like 2 different weapons. It's a really fun game. Just dodging around and, doing fun stuff. So Yeah, that's my 7 through 10 there. I guess let's go through the 6 through 4 here. Mark has Forbidden Solitaire. I'm gonna have to pull up what that is. 007 First Light, which just got delayed to May 26th, if I'm not mistaken. And well, it did get delayed. I just can't remember the date exactly right now. And also, he has Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred, the expansion. That's just number 4. So, what's your number 6 through 4?
So Pragmata is at the 6th spot for me. Comes out on April 24th. Again, people have said really good things about the demo. I still need to get my hands on it and try it out as well. It's one of those that it went from, is this game even real? Is it ever coming out? It was known for the haha Game Awards. It was just the Forbidden Solitaire.
Yeah, it's Forbidden Solitaire. Yeah. Hey,
So
look!
kinda,
I mean, look, another one of these things was like indies like doing crazy stuff. Like,
absolutely.
who would have thought?
We have like Sega CD stuff going on with this.
Yeah, right. Like,
all right, add this to my list because I was gonna say it's like Inception and all these different games, and
yeah,
you never know. Some of these games are gonna be really fun. But anyways, like Pragmata was just the joke every year during Summer Game Fest. So that, oh, we delayed it and we'll have the little robot girl do the funny note or whatever. But now it's looking more and more like it's a real game, and people are excited about it, and combat looks interesting. So that's number 6 for me. Number 5 is only number 5 because I'm still unsure if it comes out. Fingers crossed, no release date. But Super Meat Boy 3D. Give this to me right now.
I was wondering where this is going to be on your list.
It looks so good. Now, obviously, when they did the procedurally generated Super Meat Boy game, that was a big disappointment because they lost the feeling of how good Super Meat Boy was because every level was just built perfect. And then they added it was like, well, here's a bunch of just challenges that you have to go through. And then you never got into that rhythm. But now you add this into the 3D space. It looks like they're kind of going back to the old school feel of Super Meat Boy, which is just go out there and try again and just make the level as red as possible because you're going to die a lot. And
you know the physics are going to be even more crazy.
Oh, they're going to be
3D,
just absolutely nuts. Like, just watching this trailer has me so excited even more. Again, would be even higher up on my list if I knew it was coming out this year. I believe it will be, but I just don't have a date yet. But as you see from this trailer, they have so much of this game already done. So very excited for Super Meat Boy 3D. And then I'll just quickly with number 4, Wolverine for me as well. Don't know a ton about the game, but it's Insomniac. Give it to me. I'm ready to go.
Number 6 for me is Replaced. Been waiting for this game for years now.
Looks good.
It looks so freaking good. Talk about like that. The Pixar is just amazing on it, and I'm just excited to play this thing. Mm-hmm. At this point, adventure number 5 is Adventures of Elliot: The Millennium Tales. Look, I'm at the point with anything this Octopath Traveler team does. Sign me up. Yeah, like
we all have those people. It's fine.
Like, I mean, I played the demo and I really liked it. Which you could play that on Switch too if you have that.
Rub it in.
I'm not trying to rub it. I'm just saying, like it's their take on an action RPG, like a Zelda-like, but with their HD 2D, and it plays awesome. And I'm excited to kind of just play more of it and explore and find all the treasure chests and do all that stuff. See what the story's going to be about. Like, yeah, I'm sold on it. And every time they do one of these things, even Triangle Strategy, which wound up not being like a big hit for them, I really liked. That was sort of their kind of like, doing their Final Fantasy Tactics thing.
The fact that every old school RPG has not re-released their old Super Nintendo game in this art style blows my mind.
Yeah. I mean, Square Enix can just do that with the Final Fantasies if they want, if they ever get into the.
Yeah. But like again, Capcom dominates my list. But Breath of Fire in that form would be
Oh man,
so good.
Capcom, stop! Like, if
Please?
there's ever a time where you're
Like again, I don't want to like rag on you because you've been doing so good for so many years.
yeah,
But Breath of Fire in the 2D 3D style,
yeah, you got to do it, man.
lock it in.
Number 4 for me is a game I'm sure is going to be your number 1.
Never heard of it.
It is, Resident Evil 4 or Resident Evil Requiem, Resident Evil 9, in quotations.
By the way, what cheaters to make the 9 a backwards Q? Right, we were all trying to figure out how to put an IX into a name and how that was all going to fit. Because that's exactly what happened with Biohazard and Village.
And Village, right? Yeah.
And then they went, no, we're not doing the Roman numerals. We're doing a 9 where the Q is supposed to be because we're cool.
Hey, but that's cool. I'm glad that they figured out how to make that. I
agree. Yeah. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Mark has Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. That is an indie Star Trek game that I've seen a few times. Looks pretty cool. Bloodstain, The Scarlet Engagement. That's the second Bloodstain game, with, of course, Castlevania inspired, is his number 2. And Resident Evil Requiem is his number 1.
What's his number 2?
The Bloodstain Scarlet Engagement.
That's number 2. I got you. Yeah. For me, my number 3, I can't help myself. Grand Theft Auto 6. I do believe it'll come out. I did put it at 3 again for the same reason Super Meat Boy. Does it come out? We will see. Number 2 for me is because it should have been out already last year. It should have already been talked about last week because it would have made my game of the year list somewhere because it looks so good. Mina the Hollower.
Yes.
Yacht Club. Yeah. Cook, man. Like, did I want to play it on Halloween? Absolutely. Make sure the game is set and ready to go. I trust that group 1000%. But that game looks so good. I'm still sad that they didn't go, all right, we delayed it to here. So obviously it feels like there's a little bit more wrong with the game than they were hoping. But that has to come out this year because they were so close to release before they pushed it back. But again, that old school Game Boy style from the guys that made Shovel Knight, and very, very excited to see what they can do with this game. So easily my number 2, and you nailed it. Resident Evil Requiem is my most anticipated game this year. Comes out on my birthday. Go back to Raccoon City after the bombing, which is going to be so cool. I know everyone's excited Leon came back. That's fine. But that only becomes fine if he has scenes where he's like, I remember this. Right? Like this crazy stuff. And I'm sure there's going to be even more surprises down the line. It's just so interesting that the way we talked about what we thought 9 was going to be with what they set up at the end of Village. And it doesn't seem like they're doing that at all. So it's making it really feel like 10 is going to be that over the top. Resident Evil, let's not talk about Resident Evil 6, but it'll be like Resident Evil 6 where there's just so much story and so many different characters. I do like this from what we've seen where you're going to have the 2 different characters and they're going to play 2 different ways. Hopefully it's not like 6 where you just pick one and you play through them and it's more of about back and forth.
No, I think it is. They did say it's like half the game with both of them.
So I'm excited. Resident Evil and Capcom have been nailing it out of the park ever since Resident Evil Biohazard, and then when they started doing the remake stuff. So yeah, just continue to give it to me, and it's a good birthday present. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I want to see how, now that you have the action stuff in here, like how scary is the parts with Grace. How survival horror is it? And then, when you go over to Leon, like, is it total, RE8 where
it'll be 2 completely different styles? Because we saw that with Village. It's like every time you went to a different boss section, the game felt different.
Right.
So I think that's what it's going to be here, but maybe not well over the top where you're chasing down a weird swamp monster for a bit. And then you're down in a cave. with a bunch of robots or mechanical beings or whatever. Maybe not that over the top, but it might be more over the top. You just really don't know what we're going to get with 9.
Are you hoping for any more cameos aside from Leon here?
Yeah, at least hints. Because again, I really felt like with Chris coming back, and he was a big part of both 7 and 8, that we were getting ready to go to this new Umbrella headquarters and shut everything down. And you saw that with oh God, what's her name? The girl from 8, where she's no longer a baby. Rose, thank you. Yeah. And then her DLC was fine. Yeah. I thought we were going to get a lot more with her, and she was going to be the main character, and it was going to be more mansion based, but whatever facility they're going to. But again, I really start now that we've seen where we're going back to Raccoon City for this with 2 different characters that have nothing to do with the last 2. It kind of feels like 10 now is going to be that Avengers Endgame of Resident Evil, where they all try to shut down Umbrella for the 87th time. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where all this goes. I don't want as much like cameos from characters. I'm excited to see cameos of locations, because obviously we're in Raccoon City. It's been bombed, but not everything's completely destroyed. So I just want to see a broken. You can already kind of tell we're going to see a broken down RPD. We're going to see broken down places that you play in Resident Evil 3. Will the clock tower show up in Resident Evil 9 because it didn't show up in Resident Evil 3 Remake? That is the question. And I hope that even though they weren't planning on having it because everyone got so upset that section of the game did not make the remake, I hope it makes an appearance in Resident Evil 9.
I hope for your sake it does.
It'd be fun.
All right. So my number 3, 2, 1 here. My number 3 is there would be a different RPG here, Threads of Time, which is like the Chrono Trigger like, but I don't think it's gonna come out this year. I'll be very surprised. So I just didn't even put it on my list because I feel like it's not gonna come. But the one of the many pixelated indie JRPGs that I'm excited about is Sacrifier, because it looks awesome. And it has like action, sort of turn-based combat. It has kind of odes to different JRPGs and does some amazing stuff. Every time I've seen trailers for this, it looks better and better every time. And yes, you can mess with time and whatnot, so you can go through and do the attacks and be able to figure out when you're gonna block and all that stuff, which is fun. So yeah, I'm excited for this game. Hope it looks like it's finally going to come out. Pixelated Milk has kind of said as much. We just don't have an exact date so far, but yeah, this is one that's definitely I am hyped for when this comes. Number 2 is Control Resident. Love Control, love that whole Alan Wake, all that. Love the lore of getting into that. And excited to see what Control 1 was so good. It was my game of the year that it came out.
I still feel bad that I did not play it till after 2020 because or was it not 2020? What year did that come out?
2019.
2019. So that was the big battle between Death Stranding and Fire Emblem, and then I played Control and I went, Control might have ended up winning. Yeah, like, obviously Death Stranding was still going to be my game of the year, but you might have been able to convince me with Control because Mark really liked it too. When he was able to, I don't know if he played it that year or the next year, but I know we've talked about it since. And
yes,
it ended up all of us really enjoyed Control. We just didn't play it that year.
True. And my number 1, just because of where it's based, Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah.
It being set here where I live and getting to see all of the stuff and just, I'm not a Grand Theft Auto guy at all. If it was not based in Vice City, I probably would not care. I have not even played 5 ever.
Wild, like Wes even said he never played 5, and I'm like,
yeah,
it still semi holds up. I played it like a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
not all the way through, but I played a bit of it. And
I would have
held
to
up.
find
Like,
time to be able to do that, and it's so hard.
well, you're not
right
going to
now.
find time in February. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not. February's got way too much stuff going on. But yeah, look, I'm sure that it's, hopefully y'all listening, y'all watching later, you have your favorite games that you're most looking forward to. You can let us know in the comments. I'm sure you ask the next person. I'm sure if I ask all the Outer Haven folks to bring me their top 10s, it all look different because there's just that many different games, and that's great about the industry as far as that goes. Like, AAA is in the spot that it's in, but we have so many like double A's indies that it's a great time to have that be happening right now in the space. So that's pretty great. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the next week. We'll have a regular episode with news again, because I imagine there's going to be we'll be coming out of CES, so I imagine there'll be news and more kind of like things that we're already getting, like game announcements and stuff looking forward to this year. So it feels like we're going to start coming back to this is going to be a regular week, and we're going to be doing the regular things. I will have I don't know, does that game come out before the next episode? It comes out that day, so I might be getting to talk about Big Hops, which is a platformer where you play as a frog.
Oh yeah, that's the one they used.
I showed it. I'm probably going to be reviewing that, so I will have thoughts on Big Hops for the next episode. But as far as games that come out this week, there is some. It's not like next week is when it really starts to kick off. Like there's something constantly. But like today, Dune Crawl came out, which is like a 1 to 4 player isometric. You literally on top of this like spider looking thing, and they can all kind of like shoot each other off of it, and then you also have to kind of like resource gather and that kind of thing. Also got you get the Star Rupture, which is going to early access. That's sort of like a survival crafts kind of game that is getting a lot of attention right now from those kind of folks. Cozy Caravan is one of those cozy games that's getting a lot of attention right now as well. Pathologic 3 also comes out on the 9th. It's crazy that there's been that many Pathologic games at this point. And then also Code Violet, which got some crap for AI, but that's sort of like the big 3D like action game that comes out on the 10th. But yeah, thank you, Randy, for being on and covering for Mark, and all of us getting to talk about our games, and let us know what you think is going to happen in this upcoming year here, and your favorite games that you're looking forward to, and we'll see you next week, everybody. Peace.